Well, hello there and welcome back to my channel. Today we are looking at a charger from a company called Genzace. It's the same company who make these, that's it, I believe. Anyway, yeah, it's their iMars 3 charger. Now this is a budget charger, yes, but it might be very useful, especially if you're just getting started in the hobby. But we'll get to that in a minute. Firstly, like, subscribe, thumbs up and all that sort of stuff. Anyway, back to the charger. So why might this be very specific for someone starting out? Well, let's have a look at my charger, and I'll show you as an example. Now this is the charger I like to use. It's from Toolkit RC. It's a very cheap charger. I could get a nicer one, I probably will at some point, but this does me for the time being. As you can see there, it is a 150 watt 10 amp 1 to 6S smart charger, and it does all sorts of other bits and pieces as well. Very, very good little charger. In fact, I've got two of these. One I carry in my flight bag when I go out flying, because you can plug a LiPo in and it'll give you a cell voltage and all that sort of stuff. And if you've got another LiPo, you can plug it in, and you can even charge smaller LiPos off it, which is very useful. But that's where it comes down to where you might want to choose a charger like this. Because as you can see, the input for this is DC 7 to 28 volts. And your socket at home, certainly in the UK, is AC 240 volts. So how can you power this up then? It's got an XD60 there as well. Very convenient socket if you've got a wall socket or something like that just to attach it to. So how do you charge this? Well, you operate this by using one of these. Let's move that out of the way. It's just a power supply or power source, whatever you want to call it. You probably have seen or know a device that uses one of these, but normally they're buried away in the bottom of your computer or other device, and you don't really see it. But this is the power sort of supply taken out, and it has, as you can see here, nice cable there, and that goes to a wall socket. And so your 240 comes in here. It changed it down from DC to sort of AC to DC, and this one kicks out, I think, 14 volts. So just enough to sort of be right pretty much in the middle of the voltage here, and that works fine. But this costs as much as this, and you have to kind of, to use a very English expression, Heath Robinson it to get it to work. I've had to put all of these in. If I lift that up, this isn't on at the moment, because if it was and I touched that, I would be electrocuting myself. It's not exactly what you call safe. Consumer friendly, I think, would be the good term to use. And I put this as a voltage and an amp meter on there as well, just so I can see how it's working. So there's that for powering that. And if you're a beginner, start mucking about with attaching things that plug into the wall where you could electrocute yourself might not be something you want to get into, and I would recommend caution if you were going to construct a power supply like that. Certainly take it very seriously, do all the research, and obviously, you know, do as much thinking about what you're doing as you can, because you could hurt yourself if you're not careful. So that could put people off. So we put that to one side because we want to focus on this charger here from Genzace. Now, if we open it up, as we can see, actually, before we do that, let me just show you the blurb on the side, because it'll give you an idea about what this is all about, this charger. So if you can see here, it will only charge up to 5 amp, whereas the other charger will do 10, and it will only do 100 watts, and that other small charger will do 150 watts. So you're not going to be able to charge as many big batteries on this as you would that other small charger. So you're beginning to think, well, why would I bother? And that's when you come to opening the box. You can do that without knocking the camera too much. As you can see, here's a charger. We'll get to that in a second. But look, it's got a wall socket. In fact, with this one, I've got the instructions. That's a little balance connector, and that goes on that. It's got a European one as well. So if you're taking it on holiday with you, put it in your bag, you can plug it into a European socket when you're abroad and go flying there when you're on holiday. It's got some other connectors as well, but to be honest, all of these sort of connectors we don't really use anymore for FPV, so we'll put that out of the way. And you've got our instructions. Read that if you want to, but to be honest, this should be quite a straightforward charger. So what we're going to do is just have a quick look at it. It feels quite solid. I mean, it is significantly larger than the other one, but then this has got the transformer in it to turn your voltage. Perhaps see there. So input AC, output DC, and that's what we want. So there you go. Very much familiar looking for the older chargers, the 4-button charger with a small screen. Very much in that same style, but obviously, you know, modernised. We've got a little. We can get this out without breaking it. How's that work then? Oh look, I got it done, and I wasn't struggling with it for 10 minutes, honest. Anyway, so that we can sit it like that, which is very useful. Get some airflow around the back, and that's the thing with this, it's going to be generating lots of heat, so it needs the airflow. So if you're running it with big LiPos, I would position it like that, otherwise just position it flat. So let's power it all up and then see what the menus are all about. So here's the screen that you get, and obviously this is not a charge cycle we want to do. We want to do nickel metal hydride. So how do we operate then? Well, these are like buttons, are just touch buttons. That's quite useful. We press the button first of all, and we get that number going, and we can go up and down there, and you can basically program in different program settings up to 12. So if you've got certain LiPos that you want to charge, well then you can just or battery styles or types. You think I would say program number 8 is always my goggle battery, so I can just plug that in. Program 8, press start, go away, come back, and my goggle batteries or LiPos are charged up exactly as I want them. But to be honest, I probably just use number 1 and just adjust it as and when, because I never quite charge the same things at the same time, if that makes any sense. Sometimes I'm charging 4 LiPos, sometimes it's 3, even if they're the same voltage, and I end up with so many different programs, it's just as easy for me to make adjustments, but it's there just in case. So we've got that first option there. Once we highlight that, we click enter start again, and we go to our second option, which is the battery type, and we can then cycle through that. We've got LiPo, LiHv, lithium high volt, which is very useful. The old 4-button chargers, which is very similar to, could never do high volt. Well, mine certainly couldn't anyway, the old Sky RC one. So it's useful we can do that. And nickel metal hydride back again. So we want lithium polymer LiPo. So we'll press enter again, and we'll go to the charge is now flashing, as you can see. And then we've got different options. Cell balance, so it won't charge anything, it will just balance the cells that are there if you've got an unbalanced battery. And then you've got storage charge, that will draw the power either up to 3.7 volts, there you go, per cell, or down to 3.7 volts depending on what the battery is. So there's that there. And then we've got discharge back down to a low voltage. If we've got high voltage, why you'd use that I don't know, but it's there anyway. And then back to charge again. We press enter again, and now we've got our amp showing. So you always want to charge, for a good charge, you want to charge around about 0.1 C. So with this battery here, as you can see there's an 850. So you say, oh, it's 0.8. So I could do it at 0.8, that would be gentle on it. Quite honestly, it would take 0.9, it probably would even take 1 point something. But the higher above the 1C, the more damage you can do to your battery. So you're probably better off just doing 1C or thereabouts. I always round up when it's like a 0.5, so it's a 1550, I do it 1600, you know, that sort of thing. But you could round down if you wanted to, it wouldn't matter too much. So there's our amp, which we set to roughly 0.1, and now we want to set how many cells our battery's got. Some chargers do work out the cells from the voltage it detects, others require you to program that in, and this one's like that. So we want to go up to 3, 4S, and I believe it goes up to 6, and then back down to 1 again, just cycles round. So this is a 4S battery, and then once we press that, that's it set. Now if we want to start, well, we have to press and hold, but we haven't got a battery connected. But we'll do that in a second. We'll just go back to the previous menu, which is back. From that, actually, with nothing flashing, you don't have to go back. You just press up and down, and then you've got your system program, and you've got a battery meter as well. So system select sets, we've got options, safety timers, and give you the version. Test mode, you won't need that. We're going to turn the beeper or the buzzer off or on. Capacity cutoff, safety timer, and back to that. So we just go back there, and then we've got our battery meter, which is pretty self-explanatory. Just tell you the voltage of your battery. But to be honest, I think you find it easier just to use something like this to do that. Plug in the balance board and it gives you exact voltage. Anyway, it's there just in case. If you're starting out, it makes life easy for you. You don't have to buy all these other bits and pieces, so that's useful. And then you go back to this. So let's do a charge then, shall we? So we've got our XT60, which will connect into here. And then we have our little balance board that comes with it, and then we can decide which voltage we need to use. And we are on a 4S, and it goes in like that, which is the right way around, obviously. You can't get it the other way around because it's got these two little plastic sort of fins on top to stop you from doing that. So there you go. And then we press press and hold it. It checks the battery, then it asks us to confirm, and it confirms, and now we're charging away. Our amp is increasing, 0.4, 0.5. It's just slowly going up. These have programs that are designed to work in a way that kind of doesn't just suddenly dump loads of power in, but gently treats the battery nicely. So it's gone up to 1 amp, it might drop back down again. Yeah, there we are, drop down by 0.9, just as it kind of works itself out and the program runs. So if we press one of these options while we're going through it, we now get individual battery voltage, which is quite useful, and then that just goes to our end voltage. I've got timer, capacity cut off, and then we're back there, and we just press back to go back once we're if we want to finish in any way. So let's go back to charging that. That's it, like that. So there we go. We've gone through the menus a bit awkwardly, but it's pretty much intuitive, I think, as we go through it. It feels like quite a good solid charger from a reasonable company. I'm going to find this very useful because I'm going away soon, and I'll just be able to take this with me and plug it into a wall socket and not have to take all the power supply and all that sort of nonsense with me and have to carry loads of extra stuff. So this will really be very useful for a holiday trip. And obviously, if I'm charging up a couple of LiPos at the same time at home, well, I can use a power supply on one charger because I couldn't use that power supply on another one. So I can just plug this into a wall and I can get loads of LiPos charging at the same time. So that's really useful as well. So, link to this product in the description. Thanks so much for watching my content. Hopefully you've enjoyed it and found this informative. There's a charger there, very useful, certainly for a beginner. So there it is. Anyway, so take care. Thanks so much for spending your time watching my content again. And I'll see you perhaps in a video in the future. Take care. Bye-bye.